Hi, welcome to a video series on New York City school budgets produced by New York City's Independent Budget Office. IBO is a city agency tasked with providing nonpartisan analysis of New York City budget and policies. You can find us at this web address or email us directly. This is the fourth video of the series where I answer the questions, what is a school allocation memorandum, or SAM? How do I read SAMs? How do SAMs relate to my school's Galaxy allocation and subsequent uses of funds? How much does my school receive for each SAM? In the last video, we looked at the Galaxy allocation budget for PS 15, Roberto Clemente, and if we want to try to understand why different allocation categories appear in the school's budget, we can look to school allocation memorandums, or SAMs. A SAM is a document that the DOE's central administration issues to distribute funding to a school, and it is tied to either a particular type of funding, such as federal or state funding, or it is tied to a program. Let's take a look at Roberto Clemente's Galaxy allocation budget. First, I'm going to download to Excel because I want to look and sort the budget by the largest allocation category first. So to do that, I'm going to select these two rows, select all the rows except for the total, and then I'm going to sort by that second column from largest to smallest. So let's take a look. As expected, the first and largest allocation category is Fair Student Funding. We're going to talk more about Fair Student Funding in the next video. And the next two are about a little bit the same, but much smaller than Fair Student Funding. One is Tax Levy Temporary Shortfall Teachers. Now this one, it might be a little bit tricky to find the SAM that matches up with this particular allocation category. You can try by searching for key terms on the main SAMs page, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Or you can ask your school principal for more information about this particular allocation category. Other categories are a little bit more straightforward. For example, 4K for all. So let's try to take a look at the SAM for 4K for all. If we go back to the school's page, we'll click on this link at the top left, School Allocation Memorandum. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And that'll take us to the main DOE page. First, you'll notice that SAMs are divided into different categories, mostly based on how restrictive the funds are. Fair Student Funding is the least restrictive funds that are available to a school's principal. They can use these funds for however they want. The next are externally restricted funds, which can be restricted for particular uses by either federal or state authorities. Next are internally restricted funds, which DOE Central Administration deems are for particular programs or positions. There are a couple of other categories, including stimulus funding, so any funds that are funded by the ARPA or CRSA acts that were passed by the federal government. But let's click on this link, SAMs by Numbers, for the full comprehensive link of all SAMs. You'll notice that each SAM has a number on the left side. Fair Student Funding, because it's the largest, has multiple links. We're going to talk about that in the next video. Every other SAM has a unique number associated with it. Now, a SAM can retain the same number from year to year, but sometimes they can change, so you'll also want to pay attention to the title of the SAM. This tells you either the funding source or the program that the SAM is funding. Finally, you'll notice that each SAM has an issue date. If we scroll down, you can see that the first 46 SAMs were issued on June 3rd, 2022. That's when preliminary budgets for this school year were issued, and principals have a sense of what their school budget will be for the next school year. Even though, if we scroll further down, over 101 SAMs were issued for this school year. While the preliminary SAMs account for about half of the total number of SAMs issued over the course of the year, they account for much more than half of the school's budget. So, in other words, by June 3rd of 2022, the principal has a pretty good sense of what programming and staffing can look like for the next school year. Now, as I mentioned, SAMs are issued over the course of the school year. A school budget is a live document, so anytime a SAM is issued, it's possible that more funds can be released to the school. So we were looking at 4K for all. So let me try to scroll down and find the SAM for pre-K and 3K for all programs in district schools. So if I click on that SAM, you'll notice that the SAM starts off by describing what type of program or funding source this SAM is going to be issued for, and explains how funding is determined specifically. It also provides information about how the funds can be used. What's important also in each SAM is that these bold blue font represent allocation categories that you'll see in the school's budget. And here's the one we were looking at, 4K for all. So each SAM can specify funding for one or multiple allocation categories. And you see this SAM provides funding for multiple allocation categories. Also important at the bottom of each SAM are tables that allow you to look up the amounts for each school. So let's look up 4K for all. And we'll notice that it provides detail. Look at PS15, and if we scroll over, tells you how the amount is calculated. And at the very end tells you how much was issued to this school. There's that $227,000 that we saw in the school's budget. If we look here. For a list of websites reviewed, please see this video's YouTube page. Thank you for watching, and please leave any remarks you have in the survey below. In the next video, you can find out how to understand the largest SAM, also called Fair Student Funding, or FSF.